realistic about things, that what's probably slowing things down for you is the implementation process. That's pretty much it. And, you know, and I know it's the same in our life, not so much with the rubbish I do for a living, but just anything else, whether it's buying a, you know, new lawnmower. We're on acreage, so therefore I've been telling myself to buy a new ride-on mower forever. I've got one with a little beer holder, and I enjoy doing that over a weekend, but it's broken down. And I've been saying, oh, I've got to get a lawnmower. You know, all I've got to do is just drive down the road and buy the damn thing. But you know what? Something always gets in the way, you know. So I know it's all about the implementation. And was the little TV show this morning strategic? Of course it was. I just wanted to show you what 6 people could do. 6 people could do all that sort of stuff. And, you know, basically we didn't have a team around us. We had to make up names for the damn credits, you know. So what I thought I'd do is just say to you, first of all, who at the moment in here is on our program at the moment? Who's on the program? Okay, so therefore there's a few that are not. Okay, so those of you who are on the program, you know how it works. It's basically a done with you program. So if you're on the Academy program, which is the $500 a month one, then you're paying $6,000 a year. If you paid up front, you saved a few bucks, fair enough. And you basically get access to all of my things. You get access to these love fests a few times a year, which is good. And you get access to us via, you know, asking questions via the Facebook page. But there's a limit that I can give on that, because obviously at $500 a month, I'm not getting rich out of that. And so therefore the onus is on guess who to implement? You. And so it should be, because it's no different from a gym membership where you've got all the equipment. The fact is that, I mean, I had a guy about a month ago ring us and say, oh, I've joined the Academy program, and, you know, I've been in it for 4 or 5 months, but I don't see anything, I'm not, you know, really making any money out of it. So I just want to know if I can have my money back. I said, but you must think I'm a dickhead, you know? No. What, if you ran to the gymnasium and you didn't lift the weights, and because you didn't put any muscles on, are you going to go back to the gymnasium and ask, could I get my money? They're going to laugh at you, and so they should. The onus is on you when you buy into a program like this. You've got all the resources. I said, I haven't seen too many questions from you on the Facebook page. And he went, oh, yeah, I just never got around. I said, well, okay. So that's the way it is. And I'm sorry, you're not paying me enough money for me to ring you up every week and say, are you implementing? Because when I bought this coat from David Jones, they didn't ring me up the week later and go, are you wearing that coat? You better be wearing that coat. You paid for it. So therefore, really, it's really, really simple. That smaller program is for you if you are really, really a doer, and that's fine. You'll get a lot of value out of it. If you're not in the position to do a lot of stuff because you're so busy in your business, which most of us are, then the upgrade might be something you might want to consider. And what I thought I'd do is just drag this over and show you what's in the upgrade. And okay. So therefore, in this particular upgrade, I'll go through it before I flick over the piece of paper. In this upgrade, it's called the Masterclass program. So it's a private coaching program. And as I said, if you're in the Academy one at the moment, then we just start again and we credit you with whatever you paid in the marketing category. It's $2.50 a month. It's normally $3.50 when we have it on the website, but we're doing this sort of stuff. Obviously, we sell it for $2.50 because there's an event. And nothing's ever $2.50, it's $2,497, but let's say $2.50. And so what happens there is that when you join, if you decide to do it today, then what we will do is that you'll have a call with Emil, who I will introduce in a moment to explain to you the role that he plays. But what I've done is that I've decided to be sensible about the scaling. And, you know, Joseph was just talking to me with his mortgage broking business. He said, yeah, I've sort of got it now. I'm probably the impediment in the business because whilst these, you know, central station, that's where everyone comes to, there's just him. And unless he backs away a little bit and starts to think about scaling, then guess who's the guy that's going to be busy all the time and up to 1 in the morning? And that was me. That definitely was me. And it was crazy because the thing is that I can give value to people like Paul and Tracy just then in freaking 5 or 10 minutes. Now, that's not going to be what would be in your marketing plan. There'd be more sophistication than that, but you can see that the big idea is going to be there pretty quickly. I can do that till the cows come over and over and over and over and over and over and over. A guy with 2 Captain Cook boats in Sydney was sitting on 52%, what do you call occupancy rate on these 2 Captain Cook boats. You take basically older people out on the Sydney Harbour and they'd stop off at an island, have a few sandwiches and look at the convict jail. And then what would happen, they'd jump back on the boat and come back to the rocks and that was it. But, you know, the audience was pretty much, you know, older people and he only had 50% of the cruises booked. And I said, well, in the first meeting, I said to him, well, in that case, we can fix that in a real hurry. He goes, how? I said, we've got to widen the funnel. And he said, what do you mean? I said, well, a bit like the Elvis thing, where it's widen the funnel now to consumers instead of leagues clubs. In your instance, we'll widen the funnel to families. We get families to come on the boat. He goes, JD, I've got to tell you, like, the kid's not real wrapped in Captain Cook, you know. These were replica Captain Cook boats, right, the Endeavour. And I said, no, but they do like Johnny Depp. We're going to turn both of these boats into pirate ships. and there's going to be an attack of the pirates on Sydney Harbour. Now, that came as quickly as what we're talking to Paul in the media. His jaw dropped. His name was David. His turnover went from 9.8 to 14.6 million in the first year. Okay, because we changed it to pirate ships. We put a pirate show on the thing, and you might say, how quick did that happen? It was turned into pirate ships, both of them within 3 weeks. There was a Mossman local theatre company in Sydney doing a pirate show in a scout hall. We took them and put them on the boat. And if you've been to Disneyland, you've probably been down the road to Knott's Berry Farm, and across the road from Knott's Berry Farm, there's a pirate show, a dinner show, a pirate show. And we just took that basically and put it onto the boats. It just went nuts. Why? We launched it in the Sunday newspapers. We gave away $35 million worth of free tickets to the pirate boats. And you might think, wow, how could you afford to do that? Because it was fresh air. When I walked into the newspapers, I just said to them, listen, Sunday Telegraph, we're going to give you 2 child's tickets to go onto this pirate ship attraction, which is launching in 2 weeks' time. And they're worth, whatever it was, $19 each. Multiply that by 500-something thousand papers, multiplied by 2 children, that's 35 million, whatever it was. But if you don't want it, I'll give it to the Sun Herald. I'm just getting to the door here. I'm going to go to your opposite. No, we'll take it. I thought you would. Okay. So therefore, they then put on the front page of the paper, get your free pirate ship children's tickets. Guess what? We're giving away nothing. There's no child's going to get on that boat without an adult. Okay. Just give them fresh air away. So it's really, really simple to launch these things if you do it really, really quick. My problem was that I was sucking it all up and doing the operational side of it. So then my problem is that I'd know the TV guy that can bloody get you TV ads for like next to nothing. But guess what? I'm the idiot that was on the treadmill ringing up my mate to organise all of that. And it was just nuts. Where I'm good at is this stuff. That's where I'm good at. And I'm not bad at the implementation. For a creative, I think Gail, my wife, who doesn't say too many nice things about me, but she'll probably say I'm pretty good on the eye for detail. There's not too many letters get past me that aren't fixed grammatically. I'm a bit of a grammar Nazi, and I'm pretty good on that detail. However, that's not where the real value is. The real value for me is in this big idea. And I think that's what Joe was talking about, his own thing with his mortgage broker. And so we had to work out, how do we do that and take advantage of my wizardry, but make shit happen? And that's where Emile comes in. And I might as well throw to you to expand a little bit further on what you said here. When I do this, what do you do?
Yeah, probably, I guess the best way of me explaining what I do is showing you a workflow, just as we did with Paul. So I get this from JD, right? The marketing action plan. These things are very comprehensive. And I know that JD says, we just grab it out of the filing cabinet, do a little bit of find replace, but there's a hell of a lot more that goes into that, because we do know that the level of results you're going to get comes down to the level of customization, right? That headline is not just made up by grabbing something that's already on the shelf and just changing the logo. So we've got a lot of experience, or JD's got a lot more experience than I do across broader industries working in the offline space. So he can put those together, and they're bloody amazing. And you get your marketing action plan. Then we have a chat after you've received your marketing action plan. So first we have a chat, then marketing action plan, then we have a chat afterwards. We work out what you want to implement. Typically, the website's usually pretty high on everyone's agenda, right, Paul? So we get the website sorted out. So I have a look at that wireframe, check it with you, make sure you're happy with it. We work out some copy for it. And then myself or you, brief, probably John Moo would be the sort of person that would send that straight through to. And then he turns it around. He actually shows it to me and to JD before you see it, because we do a little bit of course correction on the way, right? It's part of the value that we add, because we've got an eye for it. The average designer out there, they're just a designer. And what they want to do is make a nice, pretty website so that they can put it on their website as an example of the pretty websites that they make, because people are attracted by pretty websites if they want a website. Your market is attracted by the messaging and the marketing of your website. So normally the average designer doesn't have the marketing firepower to be able to put together something decent. So that's why we have to check it and course correct if there's anything that they've got wrong. So the website's underway. We also need to test your market. So just as I mentioned to you, we'll have a look at maybe it's Facebook, maybe it's AdWords, maybe it's direct mail or an email or something like that we're going to test. So we start putting the creative together. Ideally, we want to test first. Facebook or AdWords are great for testing. So we'll have a look, what are the emotional drivers? What else is there out there? How well do you know your prospects? And then we'll whittle it down through testing into who are your bullseye clients. Are there any surprises there? Often there are. And so at that point, then we go, right, well, now we need to focus the marketing on this. JD mocks up a Facebook ad. We have a look at the Facebook ad. We send it through to Mitch. Well, I say to Mitch, right, here are the 3 angles that we're going to push. Here are the seed ideas. Mock up the ads, the images, flick them back to us for approval. I check them. If I like them, I flick them to you. You approve them. So your job is mostly just approving stuff that gets done by people. Now, you've got to pay Mitch separately. You've got to pay John Moo separately, right? They're the contractors, but they're good because they're on our Rolodex for a reason. And I'm kind of lazy in a way, right? I don't want to do that much work for you. And the only way that I can avoid...
Well, thanks, Emil, anyway. So therefore, what we would move into...
The only way for me not to have to do much work for you is to get you really awesome results really, really fast, right? The ideal problem I want you to have is, okay, that's enough of me, I'll slow it down. Just let us deal with this, with our fulfillment process for a couple of months. That's the problem that I want to create for you. That's what my job is, right? Implement all of this very, very quickly so that you're not calling me on the phone all the time and I can relax, go to the beach, do whatever. So that's what my objective is. And the only way we get there is by implementing very, very quickly at the beginning, very, very effectively, making sure we get it right. So again, test the front of the funnel and then use that information to develop the right landing page, the right video, the right direct mail piece, whatever it's going to be, so that we're getting that right all the way through. Because just about everyone that I've spoken to in the last 3 days, 2.5 days, has come along and said, oh yes, this is what I've done. Boom. That's like, it's a web page, or it's a direct mail piece, or it's something that they've already done. We look at it and we think, right, okay, maybe we don't need to throw it out completely. Maybe we can still work with what's there. But the earlier you get in, the faster we can fix things up and get you accelerating to proper results. Yeah.
Halfway through the process, but we pay them.
We've only paid a bit.
We paid a bit, so we paid half. Then you
And Paul, can I ask,
Yeah.
when you say pay half, how much is the total website? If you don't mind? How many?
Oh, phew. That's
2,500. So it's a $5,000 website. And the answer to this, if you don't mind me butting in, Emil, is that yes, we can work with them, no
You'll work
problems.
with them.
Generally speaking, the chances of it turning out like you want it to are a little bit less because they don't live in the direct response world. They might have a ponytail, you know, or they might be a bearded hipster. So therefore, they may not talk a language, which means there's a lot of times that comes to grief. I've got to be honest with you, because they go, we're not going to be told by some salesy person to, you know what you want to do. You want to sell pots and pans, okay? So therefore, you want the salesy person involved. We're very, very conscious of keeping the brand persona. So if you're David Jones, we'll make sure it's David Jones. Don't worry about that. But they don't see it that way. They will see that if there's any sales tools on the website, that we're Dr. Evil. Now, if you don't think they're that way, they just need direction, then happy days. Yeah.
I think that's how they are. They just need direction.
Okay, good.
But we're the ones that confuse them.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough.
Okay.
We're arguing amongst ourselves.
Yep.
instead of having someone come
I want this on it. No, no, no. You go,
Yep.
no, no. And we're like stabbing
Yep.
each other.
Well, Tracy said to me just prior, like confidentially, she said, if only Paul would just get out of the way. She was
Yeah.
saying that to me at lunchtime there. So
Business would be flying. Yeah.
yeah, no, look, if they're fair income, normal, regular people, then yeah, we can just point them in the right direction. And that happens quite a bit. The reason I did give you the other option, the other, you know, sort of outcome of that sometimes, if they are bearded hipsters or the, you know, the really creative team, they see that anything that sells is evil. It's all about building the brand. Well, you can't eat the brand, you know? Yeah. Okay, so let me just throw back to you, Emil. Is that about it, or is there something else?
Pretty
you want
much.
to-
Are there any
Yeah.
questions about how that works? I mean, basically, you work out which of the action items in your marketing action plan, your map as we call it. We work out, you tell us, or we discuss which action items you want to implement first. And when the marketing action plan comes through, there's actually a section at the end that we include now, which helps prioritize which action items we think are going to be the most important, because they're pretty comprehensive, right? They're anywhere between 4,000,
Gail's got a
7,000
couple.
words.
If you give me that book, I'll show you the marketing
Yeah,
action plan.
they're pretty intensive, right?
Yeah.
It's not like you know, a 3-pager, and it's not like, I know a lot of digital agencies out there, they'll do an audit or some crap like that, and all it really is just a bunch of analytics reports with a couple of paragraphs. Has anyone seen something like that?
Yeah, I didn't wait for free to make money.
Right. Okay.
Okay, so let me just say,
these are just chocker. They're just chocker with value.
This is about half a dozen in the one book, but this is how comprehensive the plans are. Okay, they're pretty comprehensive. I mean, when people get these, they get a headache. So you're talking about everything from online to offline. What we put in there, that one there is for, what's that, office supply company. So throughout all of that, we take all the screenshots of their opposition and show them exactly how they should be doing it. There's layouts of all of their, if I say the website, so there, for example, that's a website section of the plan. I'll say, look, this is what you should be doing on the website, blah, 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 blah. And when we get to, I'm just trying to get to the drawing department, so when we get to the actual website, they get a layout of landing pages and websites, the whole thing. So like it's done for you. It's all done for you. So there's none of this rubbish about, oh, we think maybe your website should have pinks and blues and things like that. It's on there like that. And then when we get the Facebook pages, Facebook ads, there's layouts for what brochures should look like. We think you need a brochure if you're in the bricks and mortar world. Show you examples of other clients that have used petrol discount, whatever it may be. So they're pretty comprehensive. That booklet there we just put together. Any one of you can have a good look through it and leisure. But we put that together through about 6 or 7 of the marketing plans in there. But each of these, not that it matters about how many pages or anything, just to give you a feel for it, they're normally 20 to 30, maybe 35.
30 to 40 these days. They're really cranking up because, the more new technologies, new ways, heat maps and things like that are starting to jump in now as well. And they're getting pretty bloody intensive. And you get one of those and it's just like, geez, what do I do? So there's a section at the end where we prioritize for you, or we make the recommendations. Here are your critical conversion paths, or here are your critical action items as we see them. And often people will go, all right, well, let's just start with those. Let's get those underway so that you feel like you're getting some momentum. But there are other things you can be working on in the background and that kind of thing. And ultimately, your job is basically to talk to me and work out the briefs and the suppliers and the order in which you want to execute things. And so then a brief would get put together, flick through to the supplier, whoever that's going to be. A reasonable amount of it, I end up just doing myself because it's going to be quicker for me to write a Facebook ad for you, or it might be quicker for me to write a headline test than to flick it off to some copywriter who may not know your business as well as what I do, because I've been talking with you, working on the marketing action plan and that sort of thing. I can just write it for you, get your approval, and yep, straight through to Facebook guy. Our Facebook guy would be Mitch. Flick it straight through to Mitch. And get him to do all of the technical implementation. A couple of days later, Mitch, what are the results? Let me have a look at what's happening. And then we can perform some analytics, work out what's happening, feed the information back to you, rinse, repeat. That's basically it.
And I think the advantage of having someone with wrinkles involved, you're not quite there yet, but is because there's the combo of offline and online. So that's why I can talk TV infomercials, but at the same time talk about websites and Facebook pages and so forth.
I got really excited about what you were doing because I have a lot of celebrity clients, right? So I really got excited about your whole TV show concept and everything, and I was like, but so I would work on that, get ideas from you. And
absolutely, yeah. I mean,
I've been looking for somebody who can help me get my clients on TV. And that's your expertise. So
anything that's directly outside my experience, like some of the offline video media stuff like that, we just kick it straight up to JD. You get access to both of us. Right? If it's something to do with the implementation, then it's primarily going to be me. If it's something else where it's, how do we do this? We just kick it straight up to JD, and then he'll let us know how we do it.
How many news agencies do you own? It's 3. Okay. Who thinks that news agencies are a little bit like horseshoes? Okay. They're sort of not what they used to be in terms, because we get news now from other sources. And so therefore, what we need to do in terms of a news agency is think about how do we make that sexy again? How the hell do we make that sexy again? And you might say, well, we can't. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Because if we don't have another microphone, unfortunately. I wish we did. But he says sarcastically. But if, do we have another one? Yeah, good. Oh, we had one.
They're getting the message here.
So therefore, can I just ask you in terms of the new, I'm only demonstrating this because we haven't spoken about this yet, have we? Okay, good. So therefore, let's just, can you tell everyone where the news agencies are?
Okay, we've got 3 news agencies in inner southeast Brisbane. One inside a major hospital, and another one about 2 kilometres as the crow flies, and another one 2 kilometres as the crow flies. We do a distribution from, if you know Brisbane at all, from Ipswich Road to Creek Road, which is probably, I don't know, 10K.
Now, the one in the hospital is probably pretty safe, I would imagine, because you've got traffic going there all the time, no matter what. But I'm guessing that the traffic into the 2 suburban news agencies has probably been dropping over the last 5 years. Would that be fair to say, in terms of numbers of people?
Correct.
Yeah, okay. And so therefore, if I asked you how much of the traffic that comes into your news agency at the moment comes in for lotto, comes in for gambling, lottery tickets, lotto, keno, whatever it is?
Round about 50%.
There you go. Is that a pretty big percentage of people who come into your business whereby their loyalty to you is not really based on buying newspapers, but rather buying a dream and $1 million?
Correct. However, they're not loyal because they'll go to this shop today, that shop next week, this shop next week. that shop the week after.
But they will be when you run a loyalty program that launches with a $100,000 check, because they are gamblers. They're buying lotto tickets.
Correct.
I haven't bought a lotto ticket for 10 years, so I wouldn't know, you know. But Parramatta Leagues and Panthers, the biggest number of poker machines in Australia, both paid me a fair whack of money to make their machines spin, because I knew how to spin them, right? And so therefore, and gamblers are a different type of people. And I know that even firsthand, unfortunately. Gail's father, who's passed away a couple of years ago, but he was a compulsive gambler and lost 5 houses on the horses. So you can imagine Gail's mum was really pleased that I was making my career out of trying to teach people to gamble. You know, that was a really good Christmas table conversation. You know, I remember her father, when he went to Gamblers Anonymous, said to us at one Christmas around the table, look, I'm in Gamblers Anonymous now. I can't possibly ever buy a lottery ticket anymore. You know, and I said, oh, wow. And he said, yeah, so therefore, basically at the end of the day, he's a super duper accountant, would you believe? And he said 40% of gamblers in the Gamblers Anonymous came from financial background. So they just went out to the horses and put it on the 100 to 1 shot, but they wouldn't do that in their day-to-day life. It was weird. And he said to me, he said, listen, I have now committed to never, ever buying. I can never even ever buy a raffle ticket at the local little basketball game for the kids. And I said, I bet you $100 you do. And I thought it was funny, but there was just silence at the table. And apparently Gail's mother didn't think that was appropriate. But it was what I call my Bernard King moment, you know. So anyway, in that instance, if 50% of your people are coming in to gamble, can you imagine if you put that door hanger that we spoke about yesterday, but it will only work if you implement, and guess what? I can introduce you to some Airtasker people who would put it on the door. PMP and Salmat won't do it. The ladies are not allowed to go past the letterbox because the dog eats them or something. But you can get Airtasker uni students to put these door hangers on. And every one of the 10,000 homes around your 2 news agencies, or 3 if you want to do the hospital one, will get a door hanger with a $100,000 check written on it. And that $100,000 check, when they flip it over, it says, if you bring this into our news agency and drop it into the barrel, old world style, because we're talking about bricks and mortar here, then you've got a ticket into the $100,000 draw. And then for every lotto purchase that you make over the next month, for every X dollars worth, what would be the average lotto purchase? I wouldn't know. Is it $10, $20? What is it?
Probably, say $20.
Let's say $20.
Yeah,
So for
on
every,
average, yeah.
okay, whatever the average is, we up it by a third. So that for every $30, because you want to get the other $10 out, for every $30, so this is acquisition and then upsell and then loyalty, okay? So that for every $30 you spend with me for the next month or 2, then we will give you 5 extra tickets into the $100,000 draw. What do you think gamblers will do? Do you think they pay $30 instead of $29? You better believe it. We put teddy bears on the top of 500 poker machines in Parramatta Leagues Club, just teddy bears, okay? And we said, if you brought up king, queen, whatever, ace, any on the machine, or whatever the combination was, you walk away with a teddy bear. We got gangsters in those places just pouring drug money into, I'm joking, but we got people who are just, not normally the people you'd expect that want to win a teddy bear, but even if they're a gangster, they want to win the teddy bear for their granddaughter, right? So that took machine revenue up like you wouldn't believe. It's just by putting teddy bears on the top of these machines. Because when you go to Luna Park or the School Fade, what are you trying to win when you throw the little stuff on the, you know, you're trying to win a teddy bear, for God's sake. So therefore, in your instance, you would do that, and then you'd build them into a repetitive trade pattern by saying every time you spend $30 with us, or for every increment of 30, which means if they spend 60, they get 2 lots of 5 tickets. Then we're talking about not trying to resurrect newspapers, because that's impossible. What we're trying to do is bring traffic into the business that hopefully will increase the lotto takings. And I know your margin's small, but whilst they're there, hopefully they'll think about buying magazines or gifts or whatever it might be. Yeah.
More importantly, the gifts and stationery and the higher margin stuff.
Of course.
And the greeting cards.
Okay. Well, and if you wanted to, you could actually then, if you wanted to skew people that way, you would say that, okay, you get an extra bonus number of entries if you buy from this segment of the merchandise, gifts, whatever it might be. You've got to make it KISS principle, so it can't be too complex. The reason I bring this up is that when I was at Woolworths as a national marketing guy, it was easy to trick up their trade. I had to say to them, do you realise that the majority of your Betty Bankstown audience are into Coca-Cola? Okay, so what we would do is we'd give away, or I dreamt it up, we'd give away 4 big family bottles of Coca-Cola for 10 cents. And guess where they were? At the back of the supermarket. You can't carry 4 bottles, okay? You can't carry 4 bottles, so you're going to get a trolley. You're going to get a trolley. And guess what? For every one of those 4 bottles of Coca-Cola for 10 cents, and Coca-Cola subsidised it, so it cost Woolworths virtually nothing, we got $112 in the trolley. Because they went down to the back of the supermarket, put their 4 bottles of Coca-Cola in it. Do you think they're going to walk up to the cash register with just that? Of course not. So it is I won't say bait and switch, but it is using a big Elvis found acquisition tool and then building them into a repetitive trade thereafter. And look, I can't do individuals business, but have I over this 2.5 days, Emil and myself demonstrated that this stuff can pretty much work for any sort of business? Who would vote yes? Yeah, okay. Right, so let me tell you what's in it.
One thing I might just add to do with gamblers, though, if anyone runs a hypnotherapy business or anything like that, where you're helping people with those sorts of problems, you talk to hypnotherapists and they can help people with drinking or smoking or depression or sleeping or anything like that. I always ask, well, what about gambling? And they said, well, we can theoretically, but they book the appointment on Thursday. But by the time Thursday comes along, the money's gone. So they can't actually see you.
Yeah.
So you've got them in a real trap.
Yeah.
Like they're not going to give up quickly.
Right, so I'll tell you what's in the program. Okay, number one, no matter where you are at the moment in the academy program, whether you've been with us for a month or 2 months or secret, you start again. Okay, so we start the program again. So this goes up to the so start 12 months right from day one. You get an Emil call probably in the next week to 10 days, whereby you fill out a queue. That's a questionnaire. Have a call with him. He gets to understand everything about your business. Then we speak behind the scenes, and then you have a call both with him and I. Now, that'll be Zoom or Skype or phone call, whatever you want. Okay, it's up to you. And that call there is where we actually really do interrogate you. So both Emil, despite the fact he's had the first call, we will interrogate you and find out what you need and who your target audience is and all that sort of stuff. And then you get a marketing plan within 10 working days. So within 10 working days, you get one of those marketing plans. You can have a look at that book whenever you like. Okay, so it's pretty comprehensive. And the reason we do that, if you go to an ad agency, and I don't know whether anyone in here has ever dealt with an ad agency, but you'll find you will get not a marketing plan, you'll get one idea, probably in about a month or 2 months' time. And that'll be it, one idea, one creative idea. This is a full-on marketing plan, online and offline. Then you get unlimited access to the Dream Team. That's the little appropriate name I think I've given both of us. Okay, you remember the Dream Team? I am Batman, though, you're Robin. So therefore you get unlimited access to us. And who thought that John Formica would be valuable to your business? You saw him yesterday? I rang him last night, which I didn't realise it was 6 a.m. his time. But anyway, I rang him last night. I said, mate, how about we do this? I've done you a huge favour by giving you the new business plan that we've got, and we won't know whether we'll get rich out of it until after Christmas. Can you open up some spots? So he's opened up 5 spots, okay? But you don't have to pay the 12 grand. We're going to include it, okay? So we're taking the risk that you'll stick around with us. And I'm going to include the John Formica program that you saw him go through yesterday, that he charges 1,000 Australian, which is 700 odd US, a month. You're going to get that in there. So you've got a $12,000 value of John Formica. Who thinks that having the Disney guy on board might help your business? Yeah, big time, big time. So that's in. So therefore he's given us 5 of those. He said to me 3. I said, what about 5? He said, what about 4? I said, what about 5? He said 5. Okay, good. So therefore we've got 5 of those, and you've got the comfort, and this should be the deal, bro. This should be the deal maker, not breaker, is that if you find halfway through that we were BS, that this was just a good song and dance show, that Emil and I, put on a reasonable sales pitch, and this was not working for you, just leave. Just leave. Can't be much further than that, can we? So, some people have walked up to me at these sorts of functions and they say to me, well, can you guarantee that you'll get all the stuff that you've shown me on here, like double and triple and quadruple, like you've done for all these? But I said, no, I can't. And I can't do that because you might have just got out of jail, you might have a shit product, you might not be anyone that, that people want to deal with for some reason, I don't know. So therefore I can't do that, but what I can do is back me and this guy. And what I'll do is I'll say to you, if you get halfway through the program and you find that this is, we're just all hot air, which we won't be, but let's say you did find that, just leave. I'm not going to chase you for 2.5 grand. All I'll do is hold another one of these and fill your spot. That's all. Who thinks you can't get much further than that? Is that pretty fair? Okay. Because I know that the resistance level for anyone might be, well, if I get into it and then, get 5 or 6 months in and find out that you guys are just full of it, I'm stuck for 12 months. No, you're not. No, you're not. We don't bother chasing anyone, for God's sake. We've got better things to do. We just hold another one of these and fill the spots. It's pretty easy. So I think that as a guarantee point of view, offering a level of comfort, it's pretty hard to bloody beat that. I can't see that anyone could argue that that's not, pretty sexy. So if you get 5 or 6 months in and you find that it's not working for you, that we were hot air, then just leave, okay? And I don't think you can be any fairer than that. And I know we're doing this on Facebook Live. There's probably a few people watching on that. So obviously if anybody is on Facebook Live of interest, you know where to come. It's just info@theinstituteofwow.com. Okay, so that's about it. Any questions, guys? Any questions? Yeah.
People like John back here, if you want to do a webinar,
I'm sorry, I forgot to put that bonus in. Can you give John a microphone, Gail, and maybe he can explain that? John did mention to me that he was willing to throw that in, so I forgot about it. Sorry, John. Yeah. So, John, the question is, will you be able to help people with webinars? John. Yeah.
Yes. I'm absolutely happy to help you with your webinars. So that's great. That is great. So I can give you the structure for it, review your webinar, give you the script of what to say to get 20% of people to close after the webinar call. So all that stuff. So yeah, can certainly help you with that. Doesn't work for every industry, but if you've got a sort of high ticket type offer, it's a license to print money, really. So yeah.
Yeah. And the great part is, unlike this particular model where you've got to jump in a plane and book a hotel room and all the bells and whistles that go with it, it is so much easier. So much easier. Yeah.
And just on the whole webinar point, John's, in my mind, easily one of the best copywriters in Australia. Like really, really top notch. And webinars are all about words, right? It's not really about the images, it's about the words and the messaging. So a copywriter is the ideal person to be helping you with that stuff. Razor sharp one as well.
Yep. So that's it, guys. And look, this Disney thing, just to touch on it again, I don't know whether you can recall what John said yesterday is in his program. Number one, you get access to him like you do with me with a 24/7 Facebook club. So, think about having this access, but also having the Disney guys access as well. So I think that's pretty valuable. And he's really, really passionate. You could see yesterday, he's really passionate. This one here, you also get a call every quarter with him. So you get a call every quarter. And the other thing that you get with him, and you should get the first one straight away if I was you. I'd get it as soon as possible so you start to Disneyfy your business. I'd do that. And the other thing is has a 26 video training thing. Now, look, that's good. I'm not saying it's not. I've seen it. It's very good. But the real magic for you is having 24/7 access to him on Facebook at any time. I mean, that is just not, that's like crazy. Okay, that's about it, guys. So therefore, really, if you're interested, talk to us. So the other crew will be coming in probably in, 15 minutes time. If there's anything, I'm going to have a sandwich, so we're sort of going to be hanging around if you want to ask any questions. But I guess if there isn't any questions at the moment, you just got to call the mate. If you want to come on board, great. And if it's not for you, that's fine too. So we just thought we'd do this in a lunch period like this rather than talk to everyone who either didn't have the budget or they just didn't have the wherewithal at the moment. I think the big word out of all of this, though, aside from the big ideas, is starting with implementation. We're giving you the opportunity. You're going to pay for it. Of course you should. I still think it's a steal, but you're going to pay to get this stuff implemented, which is a hell of a lot better than just sitting on your hands and, wishing. Okay. Thanks, guys. Done.
Thank you.
Thank you for the round of applause. Done. Yeah, done.
Ted.